The tension in the room was thick enough to slice with a knife. The National Education Summit in Washington, D.C., a place typically reserved for calm policy discussion, had turned into an unexpected battlefield. At center stage stood two towering figures of American politics, First Lady Dr. Jill Biden and Texas Senator Ted Cruz. No one saw it coming. But what happened next would ripple through the nation like a shockwave. It began, innocently enough. The summit, organized to address the growing divide in America's public education system, had gathered political leaders, educators, students, and parents from across the country. Everyone expected a day of debates, statistics, and carefully rehearsed speeches, but the energy shifted when Dr. Jill Biden, passionate and articulate as ever, took the microphone during a panel discussion. As a lifelong educator, her voice held weight. Her words were meant to uplift and inspire. But somewhere along the way, frustration slipped in, frustration born of years watching the system fail so many. She turned toward Ted Cruz, seated stoically on the opposite end of the stage. "Senator Cruz," she began, her voice firm, her tone sharp. "Maybe if you spent less time trying to score points on Twitter and more time in an actual classroom, you'd understand what these children really need." The audience gasped. A murmur swept across the room. The cameras zoomed in. It was rare to see such a direct call-out in such a public forum, especially from the First Lady herself. Ted Cruz didn't flinch. His face remained unreadable, but behind his eyes, something flickered. Some in the audience leaned forward, waiting for the usual bluster, the partisan fire. But Cruz didn't take the bait. Not right away. He waited. A full 5 seconds of silence that felt eternal, and then slowly leaned into the microphone. "Dr. Biden," he said, voice low but steady. "It's not the time I've spent in classrooms that matters, it's the time I've spent listening to parents who've been ignored by people who think they always know better." The room went completely still. No shouting, no applause, just silence. Then, one by one, people began to nod. Not out of partisanship, but because the line cut through the noise like a blade. Behind the scenes, the moment didn't end there. That comment sparked something deeper than a political exchange. It opened the door for a story that few expected. After the summit, Cruz didn't rush to his car or to the nearest camera. Instead, he walked straight into the crowd to a group of parents and teachers. One of them, Maria Alvarez, a single mother from El Paso, had traveled 1,500 miles just to be heard. She'd lost her job during the pandemic. Her son, Diego, had fallen to full grades behind in reading. Her voice had been drowned out in bureaucracy, forms, waiting lists, and hollow apologies. She told Cruz her story with tears in her eyes. To her surprise, he didn't interrupt. He asked questions, he took notes, and when she finished, he said simply, "Would you be willing to share that story in the Senate?" The next week, she did. Standing next to Cruz on the Senate floor, Maria told the nation what it felt like to be a forgotten parent in a broken system. Across the aisle, even those who disagreed with Cruz's politics found themselves nodding along. That moment, born from a sharp insult and a measured response, sparked real legislation: bipartisan funding for localized tutoring programs, flexible curriculum adjustments for struggling districts, and parental advisory boards with real power. Meanwhile, Dr. Jill Biden issued a public clarification. "In moments of passion, we sometimes speak too sharply. But what matters most is that it leads to action," she said. "Senator Cruz and I may disagree, but I respect any leader who listens, especially to parents." The media dubbed it the classroom comeback. What started as a viral clip became a story of listening, humility, and unexpected bridges. And while pundits debated who won, something rare and beautiful had happened. Real people's voices had pierced through the politics. Months later, at another education forum, this time in Dallas, Dr. Biden and Senator Cruz appeared on stage together again. The tone was different. The air was lighter. Cruz even cracked a joke about being too scared to check his Twitter replies after that one time. The audience laughed. Dr. Biden smiled. And somewhere backstage, Maria Alvarez watched it all unfold, holding her son's hand as he proudly showed her a book he'd just finished reading on his own. In the end, the story wasn't about who insulted whom, or even who came back stronger. It was about how words sharp or soft can start something powerful, something real. It was about listening, about being heard, about the messy, beautiful possibility of change. And in a time when so many feel invisible, that one-line comeback reminded a nation that sometimes, all it takes is one sentence, spoken from the heart, to begin something extraordinary.